Hi, and welcome to Hardin Life Live. We are the Hardins, and we are a family of counselors and coaches who are committed to bringing you some helpful tips on how to live your best life, both from a biblical and therapeutic perspective. And this month, we are starting with a new topic. We are focusing on the youth of our age, and whether that be elementary school to all the way up to high school and our young college students. We are joined today by Clay Wyatt, who is a youth minister in Alabama, and he is really taking us through an inside look of what it's like to be involved with this young generation. And Clay, I so enjoyed reading your blog. I think it will not only be encouraging to the body of Christ, but also parents who are trying to raise kids during this time. And so I'd love just to hear from you what inspired this topic. Tell us what that is, and just what you see on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. So, I am a youth pastor, and so I work with middle school and high school students, and have been doing that for almost a decade now. And so, it's definitely been a little bit of a wild ride. A lot of late nights, some nights with youth, and it's been a joy as well as a stitch in the side too at points. But um, what I see so far with Gen Z is, and Gen Z, for anybody who might not know, is just the younger generation who are now teenagers, is that they are definitely oversaturated in entertainment and technology. And so they're living in a world and a culture where, they, at their very fingertips, they have the ability to be entertained. And so that age is actually going down consistently just with the use of tablets and social media and everything like that. And so Gen Z is growing up over entertained, but still seeking purpose, still yet seeking meaning with their life.
Mm-hmm.
And so my unique position has given me the ability to um, tell them what their purpose is, and that is to be used by the Lord and sent out to make disciples amongst the nations. And so that's what I get to do. There's definitely some hard parts to that, just with everything that I might have mentioned before, but it's a joy as well.
Yeah.
Wow. Clay, that's so encouraging to know that, or for me to hear you say that even though they are over entertained, even though they are technology driven, that you're at least still seeing in them a desire to connect with their purpose and trying to find meaning. And that I worried, honestly, because obviously I'm way past the influencing the age you're in. And my concern has been, do they even have the capacity for that? Because I sit with the parents so often. The parents are worn out. They are strung out in 9 different directions. And I think what really captured me, one of the main points about your blog was how you suggested, that the greatest influence, what I took away, is still that parent-child relationship. You've got to be in relationship with your child, even though you're in 100 directions, they're in 100 directions, and living on screen. How to foster relationship. And the one that I really couldn't wait to talk to you about that you gave, because I think you gave 4 or 5 points. And one was try to have the family meal together.
Yeah.
And all my people are going to go, how the heck can we do that? We're headed to soccer. We're headed to baseball. How do you see that?
Oh gosh. I think it's I mean, there's always the old saying, and you just make time for what you prioritize. And so I do think that the family meal is so important. I think it has taken a backseat a little bit to everything else that we've got going on, the busy schedules like you're talking about. But, you know, I do think maybe there needs to be some flexibility on nights, on maybe when dinner is had based upon practice schedules or whatever it might be. But making sure that you get to that, because I think if you can sit around a dinner table, if you can put your phones away, if you can look, the student can look the parent in the eyes and the parent can look the student in the eyes and have that meaningful connection. And I know there's maybe some parents that are going to watch this and they're going to be like, what? Looking each other in the eyes, not on the phones. It's possible. And it might take some work to get there, but starting small, and then trying to work your way up as far as maybe it's just 2 or 3 nights a week, and then maybe trying to go another night of the week just to kind of help grow that relationship. It's so foundational.
I love that. And you and I are so on the same page right now, because I just completed leading a parenting workshop this past weekend. And I got a volunteer out of my little group and said, you're going to be your child and I'm going to be you. And, the typical presenting problem that you have recurring in your household. And so I had one person, she was her teenage daughter, and the other one was her 7-year-old. And so I got this interaction. But this is what was so crazy. One of the techniques I was telling them about is you want to give eye contact with your child when you're talking through anything challenging, and then you mirror what you hear the child saying. Now, this was a role play, gang, and I've got the parent, and I literally maintain that eye contact because I'm trying to teach it. Both of the women that were playing their child said that they could not hold on to their negative attitude and everything else because they were seeing me be so connected to them. So wow. You were spot on. This eye contact is a big deal.
It is. And much smarter people than me have done the research to figure that out. But I do think that it's getting back to the roots of family biblical discipleship. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're having an hour-long, almost family small group time every day of the week, but it's sitting around the dinner table together. It's throwing the ball in the yard. It's taking your girl to gymnastics, all of those certain things. And being intentional with that time goes so far for students, even though I think parents might not even think about how much of an impact it makes for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, what you very succinctly and clearly brought to the table in your blog was the model of Deuteronomy 6. And I remember as a young mother captured by that same thing. It's like whether you're walking with them, talking with them, working with them, you're always seeing that as that opportunity to impart, to connect, to empower, and to model sort of Jesus in your life, versus having, like you're saying, a formal sit down to act like, okay, we're going to now do our spiritual circle in our lives.
Absolutely. There's integration throughout all of life. There's not just a silo of our spiritual life and then the rest is what we do. It's bringing those two together in harmony, and it's a beautiful thing to watch happen whenever it does happen.
Well, and kids are always watching. Like they're always watching their parents. And I was reading some studies done that how do we know who we are growing up? Like how do we form a clear identity? It's through someone reflecting back to us who we are. And if we are not taking the time as parents or people who are influencing this Gen Z and generation, if we're not taking time to reflect back to them what we see, the value we see in them as image bearers of God with specific strength and gifts, if we're not reflecting that back, they're not going to know who they are, and they're going to continue to live more aimless lives, searching for where their identity could be when right in front of them we have that opportunity to help them see that and give them that.
That's good. I'll just, as one of the final things I'll say is just that I think as youth pastors, we have been guilty of kind of hammering the point home of you got to find your identity in Jesus, find your identity in Jesus. But a lot of times they know it, but they don't know how to do it,
Right.
and I think that's where we take on the role of we show them how to do it, we model it, they observe how we talk to people, how we act towards people, how we love people, how we invite people over for dinner. All of those certain things play into the formation of the student.
Well, it hits me too as leading this workshop this weekend. One of the key points I made was that you can't tell your kids how to incorporate Jesus because children do what they see, not what you say. And so it really does turn the focus back on the parent, and the parent's got to see where their walk with God is. Is God really, am I really trusting him with my stresses? Am I cleaning up my act as a reflection of wanting to honor him? And then to actually tell my kids that I'm doing that.
That's so good. I think a parent's main responsibility should be ironing out their own walk with Jesus and following Jesus primarily as their priority. And I think the parenting aspect and everything else out from that will work itself out. But got to get that first piece right.
Totally.
Amen.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Clay, for taking this time to sit with us and offer your wisdom and expertise in this area. And we look forward to sitting with you guys next week. Make sure you check out Clay's blog, hardinlife.com. And we will see you next week.